Hey folks, Moosetro here with another episode of Factorio. We've got our white science pouring in here. We've moved the lab. In fact, I stepped away from recording videos for a bit because I wanted to rework some things. So we moved the lab over close to our Make Anything machine. We've got a fair number of labs spitting information at us. But the big thing that I did was I reworked my defense. And I've got oil that feeds the flamethrower turrets, and then I didn't load up two sides of the belt. I only loaded up one side of the belt. And here we go. We've got the defense is cleaned up, and we laid claim to all of that ore area over there that we are having so that we can get access to that oil. And I think we're pretty much done with getting this set up to run, which means today we get to start considering the idea of exploring another planet. I lose the occasional robot flying across this area here, and maybe that's something I should deal with, but I'm ready to go hit up another planet. Oh, the other thing that I did was I created a small build for making new modules. Maybe not new modules, but making modules. And so we've got that churning away. We don't have a lot of the modules done. Actually, we're not too bad. But with the module build, I've been dumping a lot of these modules into the machines, scattered all over the map. So we're getting these things filled up. And we seem to be okay. We probably need to increase our green circuit production. Isn't that always the case? But the other thing that I did is I went through and I kind of set these chests, most of them to be priority, so that they receive only one ingredient. I just like the visual look of it better that way than having the clustered look of multiple ingredients. It's not perfect, but it's a change I made. So, what are we going to do? Right now we're researching the atomic bomb, but we have to decide on a planet, and I think that I'm leaning towards Volcanus. It's the one that I've played a little bit in the past, and I know a bit about Volcanus. The other two planets, I hear Gleba's really difficult, and I don't know anything about Fulgora. So I'm going to queue up researching Volcanus and move that to the front of the queue. And I think from there we need to be building a spaceship. So we are going to create a new space platform. What is this? Space platform starter pack. We'll do that. Got our science coming in. I think all of our labs are popping off. I don't know if I'm doing this quite the right way, because I think what's happening is a science pack gets moved down the line, and then it also gets moved up the line. And so this is perhaps not the most efficient way, because you get these science packs that just want to move back and forth. So I might need to rethink this. But we've got our science pack made, and not our science pack, but our starter kit for the beginning of a interplanetary shuttle. So we will place that in here and make a rocket or a spaceship. Where'd it go? Okay, I think we can deliver cargo. Actually, we're building a new space platform. What shall we call it? think we can always name this later. Call this the USS Moosetro. And then, I don't know, 103025. I don't like numbers after it. 1450. Nope, we'll just call it the USS Moosetro. There we go. New rocket. I think that qualifies as our 10th launch. So we need to make a shuttle, and on this shuttle, spaceship, we're going to need lots of things. So I am going to start queuing things up. We're going to turn that off, and we'll do it all in one fell swoop. Okay, if I set this up, it's going to automatically request the things that are being requested for my spaceship. Then on my spaceship, auto request that and that. And then I think what we should see is all of the ships are going to start getting the things they need to be delivered. And I think if I set it up right, these guys will fire off automatically. And they're not getting full. I could have sworn I set this up to. Yeah, why are they not getting the things they need? Something's up. They did just get loaded. Satisfaction on the way 48. Okay, I don't know where it's coming from, but it's coming. There we go. Took a little bit of time for them to load up, but now they're firing off. Oh, what an exciting sight. We go to our base, and here they come, delivering the goods. Okay, so I set this up, request some of the things that I need for the shuttle, but I also put in a big request for the necessary things to bring on the first trip to Vulcanus. And I think some of this we might need to manually send up so that we do this right. I don't know how many of the are these requests for construction. We can't request that yet because it's on the edge. I think that's what's going on. I don't know how to play this game. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. This one down here I'm manually loading so that I can get the things that I need. We're going to deliver that. But the other ones are fulfilling the requests. So I can manually do it occasionally where necessary. If we go to this, one of the things that's, I don't think it'll happen necessarily, but we might run out of space. So I wanted to get the cargo containers up here stat so that we don't run out of space. And those should be arriving any second now. There we go. Okay, let's think about this design a little bit. Okay, that's probably good for thrusters. Now what we want to do is think about how to get fuel into those thrusters. Okay, I think I have the thruster fuel set up. If we make this a sushi belt going around, we can pull our ingredients off of it, provided we're properly stacking it. So I need to figure that part out now. Okay, so we have the grabbers grabbing. They dump onto a line, which is a sushi belt that goes around the center. And I think I've set it up as well so that my furnaces are converting the iron into bullets, magazines, and dumping the magazines on the belt that will go around and feed all of the turrets. It's backed up right now because I don't have enough. Let's just real quick. Well, yeah, okay. But symmetry's been the idea here, and that's what's taken its time. I've also had a little bit of trouble getting the wiring right, but I think I've got the wiring right now. Okay, so what I think I've figured out, I'm sure I will discover when I fly this thing, it's going to be a problem. But we have a sushi belt here that reads how many of the iron producing rock is on the belt. And if we have less than a certain amount, it's going to send a signal to the grabbers that say, grab the iron producing rock. I forget what it's called. But, wait, it's called a metallic asteroid chunk. Those metallic asteroid chunks get dumped onto the sushi belt. And then they get converted in the crushers. So right now I've got 2 crushers. One of them eventually will become a balancing crusher, but until it becomes a balancing crusher, it's just going to act like a normal one. And then that iron ore is dropped onto the belt and shot around in a loop. Some of it will get picked up to be turned into fuel, and some of it will be picked up to be smelted into iron plates, which will then be made into magazines. The magazines get dumped on a perimeter belt that feeds all of my turrets. The magazines also get dumped on the interior belt if there's not any magazines sitting on the interior belt, like 5 magazines. This will then transfer the magazines into storage. Then the storage will drain automatically onto this belt, which then feeds onto the exterior one. Now the thing that I'm afraid of is that this will fill up with magazines. So I should make it so that these guys only insert magazines if the amount of magazines is less than 500. And then we can adjust that number for future flights if we find that we don't have enough stored magazines. Although I do think 500 is probably more than enough. So let's take a red circuit to this guy and a red circuit to this guy. And then we will say enable or disable if magazines are, let's see, if we say greater than 300, that should disable that one. Nope. Less than 300? I think I did that right. So it's disabled until the number of magazines drops below 300. And if it drops below 300, then it'll start putting magazines on. Okay, then we'll do the same thing over here. and we're going to put you below 300. Okay, so both of these are disabled, which means once we have 5 clips on the belt here, then we should, yeah, it's currently reading that there's 6, so this is disabled, and this is disabled. Excellent. Then I think what we have works. Right now we're still collecting the metallic and the ice one because we're still filling up our storage tanks, although I think our metallic is filled up, so I don't think we need any more for that guy. We still need to get this one filled up, which relies on that. You guys aren't putting any out because why? Yes, it's a bit of a chonkers, but I think it's gonna do the trick. We are mostly filled with fuel, which means we should start focusing on getting what we want all set up for our first trip to Volcanus in this. While I was working through that, one of the things I also noticed was that my space station for creating white science was seizing up just a bit, and I think what was happening was we are producing science a little too fast. The inserters overwhelmed the belt, and then the belt contents weren't, or the inserters weren't able to grab the white science fast enough, and it blocked up something. I don't know. But I set the limit of each of these inserters down to 1, and I added a second long arm inserter. I do think that this also needs a serious rework, and I'll probably move away from the sushi belt, as this will probably be a stationary base and I can pursue it another way. Sending things up to go to Volcanus. Oh, it's so beautiful. So many rockets. Got all this backlog of blue circuits ready to help build these. It makes me happy. I knew something was not going to work out. It seems like I've backed up on the metallic rock. How is that happening? I think I figured out what happened. Somehow a metallic rock got into my container, and so it was reading that there was a need for metallic rock. But now we're good. So we probably will need to kind of clear out the inventory for a little bit, which will be a little bit hard, but we can do that. Okay, I think that fixed it, clearing it out. And we might have a functioning ship now. Oh boy, Volcanus awaits. We're still waiting on a few more things to come this way. Maybe some efficiency modules. I might do just 1 stack of level 1 efficiencies. Queue up some more researches so that we keep that going, and we're going to be ready for a trip to Volcano. I think maybe let's get some uranium bullets. It's going to be a while. It's 3 rockets, pretty heavy. 4 rockets. We have to get the things that we want to put in the rocket, or in the tank when we get there. And the last thing to investigate before I actually make a flight, and perhaps I should have done this before I fully built out the engines and the thrusters, is can I regulate the flow to get the best thrust out of the thrusters? Oh, alerts on Nauvis. What's happening down there? Just your standard run-of-the-mill attack. You know, something I was thinking about this is these guys are placed further back, and since my fence is so wide, they barely get there, but I could scoot them just a little bit further forward. I also don't want to keep burning so much oil on these guys, so I might set priority on these ones just for the biggest and the baddest. Although honestly, I wonder if the flamethrowers were even necessary. Well, I think that's going to conclude it for this episode. We have a ship. It is flying. Well, it will be flying. And we should be able to get to Volcanus on our next episode. Whoops. I cut an important line. So thanks for tuning in. This is Moosetro signing out, and have a good evening.